Taking a ride on the Freedom Train podcast series. I'm your host, Joseph Wood, and as always, riding with me is my homie, Mr. Patrick Irvin. Remember, the Freedom Train is brought to you by PAX Inc. That's PACTSINC. And PAX Inc. is a black advocacy organization aimed at developing the black community to its maximum potential through a focus on education and economics with the traits of hard work, honesty, and integrity. For more information, make sure you visit www.pactsinc.org to learn more about the organization itself, the members, the components, and everything that PAX Inc. brings to the table. And definitely make sure you click on that tab that says the code so you can learn more about the 12 codes of conduct that PAX Inc. has created for Black America. Also, while you're online, make sure you visit our Freedom Train website at www.freedomtrainradio.com. We have some exciting news. New shows are coming on the horizon. Of course, you already know, every Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch Office Hours with Professor Carl Tone Jones directly on the Freedom Train website. Make sure you click on the tab that says Office Hours. That way you can catch the live show. Also, Tea Time Black Women Talk is a show directly designed for black women, and it will be coming very soon. We have 4 very intelligent, different types of black women who will come together to talk about the issues their way and kind of put their flavor on it. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And also, Lessons from the Screen is a show that will be breaking down films and documentaries and all different other things and seeing how they pertain to the black community. So make sure you look out for Lessons from the Screen, and that will be hosted by Mr. Patrick Irvin, so that will be coming soon. Just giving you a little flavor of the expansion of the Freedom Train Network. Our social medias, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at Freedom Train Net, Instagram at Freedom Train Network. Like our Freedom Train Facebook page, subscribe to the Freedom Train on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to the Freedom Train on iTunes and or Google Play. That way you can get episodes coming directly to your phone. Pat, I did a lot of talking, but how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You know, you don't have to excuse yourself. We all go through puberty at some point or another, and our voices begin to change. It's
well, you know,
still part of growing up.
You know, sometimes, you know. Whatever. Feeling better though, man?
I'm a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna push through. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm headed in the right direction.
There you go. You wanna kind of tease me a bit about Lessons from the Screen while we got a few moments.
Oh yeah, Lessons for the Screen. So it's gonna be a show where we breaking down digital documents and movies, television shows, whatever. We'll give you a brief summary. You know, we're not going to give you the full on of what's going on in the movie because we want, or in whatever it is, because we want you to go check it out. But we'll give you enough, and then we're going to break down a couple lessons that you can get that we can utilize as a community to really begin to make changes. I really can't give them a teaser because I ain't got one loaded up right now, but I will tell you we got custom music from the hottest new artist on the planet. He did our intro song, and it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be.
That's what's
look,
up.
It's not. I just want to put this out there. Look, most of the Freedom Train shows are funny and all of that other stuff. It's not that, because I'm not funny. So I just want to put that out there. Don't be expecting what you get when you hear the fix, because I'm not Joe. I'm not crazy like Joe is. And
right. You tell him.
He's got a show coming out where that show is just as equally bonkers as the fix. I'm not crazy like Jamie either. So don't be expecting a continuation
Right.
of that.
You tell them you got to work at being crazy like this. So there you go. So we ain't gonna keep people waiting too much longer. So today I'm excited about this interview because we get to learn more about traumatic brain injuries, the advocacy for it, and we get to learn about it from the standpoint of a caregiver. But we also get to go deeper into the world of traumatic brain injuries. So Minister Twylia Reid is also a visionary and a co-author of the newly released anthology entitled Affirmations and Antidotes That Healed Me, which is a collaboration of healing words by authors, poets, and lyricists. Now, she's also the author of a book entitled Broken Wings, which helps others to understand the life of a brain injury survivor and a caregiver. So, by sharing her personal story of hope and healing through her son's traumatic brain injury, she promises to reassure, uplift, and enthuse others affected by the devastation traumatic brain injury causes by letting them know that they too can go from tragedy to triumph. And I can already tell you by now, just by the conversations we've had, this is going to be a good one. She brings a good spirit, good passion. So I would like to welcome to the Freedom Train, Minister Twylia Reid. Our studio audience, go ahead and give a round of applause to Minister Twylia Reid. How you doing today, Minister Reid?
I am okay. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being here once again.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest. I am truly honored to be on your show.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. So, like always, Patrick has the first question. Go ahead, Patrick. Do your thing.
So, as always, Joe gives us good intros, and then I always want to know more. So I always, want to ask the very first thing has to always be, can you give us a little bit more? Can you give us a little bit more into your background about the different things that you've done, the different hats that you wear? Just give us some more.
Sure. Okay, I was born in Columbus, Mississippi, so I'm a Southern girl. My parents are Arthur and Vera Flournoy. I am the oldest of 3 children, and I currently reside in Savannah, Georgia, where my family and we've been here now for 4 years. I'm a wife, a mother of 4, 2 biological, and I have 2 stepchildren. I'm a grandmother of 5, and also a mom to a very, very spoiled pit bull. I'm also a 20-year retiree Army veteran.
Okay.
When you talk about the hats that I wear, wow, there are so many. As I just stated, a wife and a mom and a grandmother, but I'm also a caregiver, and I'm a caregiver to my now adult son. He'll be 29 this month, and he sustained a severe traumatic brain injury when he was 11 years old. I am a licensed minister. I'm a published author. I am the founder and the CEO of Broken Wings Incorporated. I'm the founder of Broken Wings Brain Injury Empowerment Group. I'm the founder of an online photo gallery called When Heaven Speaks. There's a couple of other things that I do, but certainly last but not least, I am a diehard brain injury advocate. I tell you, I live it, eat it, and I breathe it. And so that's why I'm passionate about what I do because of the journey that we've gone on through my son's recovery.
Okay. And
that's a lot.
Yeah. That's like how do you find the time in the day to just find time for yourself? How do you find time for yourself to be able to escape and recharge and recoup, to be able to go back to all of this that you do?
Well, when you're talking about recharging and things like that, first of all, we all know the first rule on an aircraft, right, when it comes to the oxygen mask. What do they tell you? They tell you to put your mask on first, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So when it comes to being a caregiver, it's important that you take care of yourself. because if you don't, you're not going to be able to effectively take care of anybody else. And so although that's the first rule of caregiving, it really is the most often forgotten. But I just try my best to just remember to take a moment, because I have times when I just want to cry and scream and all those good things too. So I do get those moments to myself. Sometimes I have to just make myself do them, or sometimes my husband has to force me to do them. So sometimes I go to the gym, or sometimes I just go for a walk, or sometimes when everyone's in the bed, I just kind of take that time by myself to kind of read and meditate and spend time with God, and just kind of have a little bit of me time, you know. I try to do those things, and it's not easy. I promise you, it's not. So sometimes you just have to force that. I jokingly say a lot of times I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be called When the Caregiver Needs Caregiving. So be on the lookout for that.
Okay. Well, that's a important message to give, like you say, that people often ignore, because their thing is, well, I have to care for people. I have to care for people. I forget myself. I'm a giving person. I like to give myself to my community and others. And I sometimes forget to take care of myself. So I'm listening when you say that, because you're talking to me too. So.
Yeah, we have to do it. It's because when you are a caregiver and you do that, everybody can't be a caregiver. Honestly, they really cannot. And it's something, it doesn't come with a manual. It's something that's built in. God gives us that. He gives us the tools. He gives us the know-how and the knowledge and the wisdom to honestly know how to become a caregiver. And so, like I said, it's easy to get caught up with caring for everybody else, because it becomes second nature. So you just got to remember to take care of yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you are the founder, president, and CEO of Broken Wings Incorporated. So could you please tell us what Broken Wings is, why you started the organization, and kind of like the mission and the mission of the organization, you know, kind of why are you here, and what's Broken Wings all about?
Okay, yes, okay. Broken Wings Incorporated, it's a newly established, it's a faith-based nonprofit organization, and it's designed to provide awareness about traumatic brain injury to different communities while providing support. We provide resources, tips, and brain injury prevention insight. And what we basically do is we just basically educate and empower brain injury survivors and their caregivers and their family members by teaching them. That's what we do. We teach them how to turn their tragedies around with working strategies to ideal well-being to get results, in spite of those challenges that they're going to face, in spite of the health or wealth challenges. And why I started this, well, I started this organization because of the helplessness and the hopelessness that I endured when my son sustained his brain injury. This is a long journey we've been on, and his recovery is truly a process. And it's a process that really just began instantaneously, like just at the snap of your fingertips. That's how quick it was when we had our car accident. But it's one that will have lasting lifetime effects. And so those challenges that I went through, wow, I tell you, I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. The stress was so intense. It was just hard to get up and just go through those things daily. Watching him in pain emotionally and watching him suffer socially, I got to a point where my heart just couldn't take that anymore. See, because when you're going through brain injury recovery, the doctors are only concerned about the physical aspect of what, of your recovery. They don't necessarily deal with the emotional piece and the socialization piece, and that is something that's really needed in the brain injury community. When someone suffers a brain injury, the whole family is affected. It reaches out and it just touches everyone that's connected to that person. It's a different kind of monster, and people don't understand about brain injury. And so that's how it came about. And our mission is basically we offer survivors of brain injury and their families the hope of continued recovery through the provision of providing location and contact information for outpatient counseling, for education, and for connections to community resources. That's what we do. There are many brain injury survivors who aren't privy to the information that's available out there to them. And so we help them with that. It can be, I basically just link them to the services in the area that they reside. They may not know how to use the internet. The brain injury may be that severe. They may not have the support system. My son, he's blessed. He's lucky to have us, to have that support system like that. We are blessed to have people support us and back us up as the caregivers, because so many brain injury survivors do not have that.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you give, because you talked a lot just then about providing the resources and making people aware of the different things that they have available to them, as well as the different challenges. Can you give somebody that may not have any idea or experience with brain injury what it's like to be a caregiver for a brain injury survivor, or even what it might be from your perspective, what it might be like for the person that's even going through this experience?
Yes. Like I stated, brain injury, the effects of it does not just touch the survivor, okay? It honestly, it reaches out and touches everyone that is connected to that person who sustains an injury. And the stress that comes along with being a caregiver, it's one that can get away from you if you are not careful. So that's what we talked about, the importance of self-care. And caring for my son, this is what it's taught me. It's taught me how to truly be a survivor. See, he's shown me what a hero truly is. When he gets up every morning and he tries it again, no matter how many times he fails, he's living proof that God is real. He's living proof that God still performs miracles. See, he died in my arms during the car accident, and they revived him. And so doctors told us he would never walk again. They told me he'd never talk again. And guess what? He's walking and he's talking. Yeah, we deal with the cognitive effects now. He has a portion of his brain removed. So for him to be able to do those things, that's proof to me. So for me to see that every day, that gives me courage. That gives me the inspiration and the motivation to get up and do the things that I do. Like I said, it's extremely stressful. And oftentimes the physical and the mental and the emotional draining of being a caregiver is hard. So I guess because there's so many unanswered questions, what you see as abnormal has become our normal. And so my advice to those would just be, or my message to those who sustain a brain injury or care for someone, is to just ensure that you educate yourself. That's just so important, because you got to put things in place to help manage the stressors that's going to come. You have to make sure that you know, because there are so many doctors out there, believe it or not, that just don't know about brain injury. They really don't. I would just, advise them to exercise, use routines, use daily schedules, daily reminders. We have sticky notes everywhere to help, remind my son of things. We use alarms. I use a journal. You kind of got to use whatever works for you. Being flexible, that's a key factor. So I would just say education. You got to educate yourself. I didn't know about brain injury before my son had his brain injury, before we were in a car wreck. I had no clue. But I have boxes and boxes and boxes of information and literature that I've researched on that I can teach about brain injury. You know why? Because if I didn't do it, who would do it for me? Who would teach me about it? They're going to only tell you what you want, only tell you so much, what they think you want to know to just kind of get you by. So education, that's the key thing.
So if you don't mind me asking, when your son suffered his brain injury, did they kind of just give you baseline information and expects you to just say, okay, well, this is how life is going to be, and kind of set the expectations for his life low, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense. That's exactly what they told me. First of all, like I said, they told me he'd never walk or talk again. Then I was told, because he was in a coma for a while, then I was told, well, if he comes out of the coma, he'll be in a vegetative state for the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. Well, when we went through the inpatient care and it was time for him to be discharged, they wanted to transfer him to a facility where they were going to only provide him 1 day a week for 1 hour of outpatient rehabilitation. Well, that wasn't enough for me. So right. I researched different hospitals throughout the United States. I found a really good children's hospital in Birmingham, Alabama. I transported him by myself to Birmingham, Alabama from Fayetteville, North Carolina, in the backseat of my Bonneville at the time to the hospital. And I was told, because I was military at the time, that TRICARE is not going to pay for it. I was like, it's okay, I pay for it myself. So, yes, they did not tell me. When I left the hospital, if I had just taken what they told me, I don't know where we would be in his recovery.
Right. And see, that's kind of like what I was asking that to kind of get to, because and I know nothing about brain injuries, but what I've seen about health and mental health and your mental state and your overall health and like the ideas and the power of the mind and everything, that accepting someone's low expectations of you will give you low expectations, but just because you limit me doesn't mean that this is my existence. You don't determine my existence. My existence is determined by what I set in my life and what I choose to work toward and don't choose to work toward. So that's what I'm hearing out of this is you guys say, you know what, we're going to set our own expectations for this. We're going to live the life that we want to live, and you're not going to stop us. I know he had this setback, but it's not going to stop us from living life.
That's right, exactly. And like I said, if we had not have gotten the education that we needed, then guess what? I would be relaying those same messages to him that they relayed to me. Well, Marlon, you really can't do this and you really can't do that. My thing was I didn't want to make him an invalid if he didn't have to be one. You know what I'm saying? So, those limitations are there. There are limitations that are there, But guess what? There are some things that he can do. And there are some things that he does that are not brain injury stuff as well. So, I know the difference. So, yes, you just can't accept that. That's why it's so important to just get the education that you need. Do what you need to do. It's going to take. Is it easy? No, absolutely not. Is it going to take some hard work and some dedication and commitment? Absolutely, but it's worth it.
I'm curious. I don't know if you follow the football thing with the brain injuries and the CTE and all of that. But I did. If you did follow it, I was curious on what your perspective of that entire situation would be. And if you don't follow it, then you can just say, Patrick, I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up.
Well, actually, okay, let me tell you. I watched the movie. I don't know if I can say it on the air, but I watched the movie, right? We know the movie, right? Okay.
Yes.
And so I tell you, I cried. I shed tears because of the truth behind it. Because that organization is a billion-dollar organization, it was heartbreaking to see that they care more about the money than these players' lives. Do you realize that 5.3 million Americans are affected by some type of debilitating disability caused by a brain injury every single year? That is a lot. So when you talk about these players and CTE and how they're killing themselves and they're doing all of this, it's heartbreaking. It's a tragedy. It really is that people, that Americans are those who possess the powers over these organizations can care so little about the person's health. I watch the sport with my husband, and I cringe when I see these players take these hits. Because, see, I know what's happening to them on the field because I see it. I'm watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And to see them laying there and knowing that they're getting up, they probably don't even know where they are. But the fans don't know that, or people that are watching it, they don't know that. But when you're educated about brain injury and you know about it, or when they take those hits like that and I see them laying on the field like that and they have to get assistance to get up and walk to the side of the field, and I guarantee you, I'm thinking to myself, wow, they probably don't even know their name right now. They probably don't even know where they are right now. It's hard. It's heartbreaking. It is.
Like I said, that's interesting. That's a good question too, Kat. That's a great question. It's interesting to get a take on that because it's a mentality that goes with that. I'm a former athlete, football player. I fully understand why those players go out and do that and are not afraid to take those hits. And even like when I played, in my instance, I wanted to give those hits. Those were some of the most exciting times that I've experienced in the sport. But it was also some of the scariest times because I can remember, getting hit in the head and then everything going black and you waking up and like you're saying, you're trying to figure out where you are. And those hits, they compound, especially the way certain people play. And now we're seeing that a lot of the players that we enjoy watching, they have all of these cognitive issues. So, within our community, like you're saying, we really need to take a look at that and stop just funneling our young men into football and things like that. So.
And it is not just on the professional side, in high school and in college as well. But see, when you get to the level where it's on the professional side, when the fame and the fortune and the money, all that come into play, what are you willing to do? I mean, how much of yourself are you willing to give up? How much of your soul are you willing to sell for the money and the fame? What about the effect that it's going to have on your family members who have to deal with this and deal with this invisible disability? See, you can see a broken arm because there's a cast, right? And you can see a broken leg, but you can't see the brain when it's broken. You can't. And so that's why it's called the invisible disability. I get all the time, people tell me all the time, oh, wow, your son, he doesn't look like he has a brain injury. That's one thing you don't say. That's another book, that things you don't say to a person with a brain injury.
Right.
Because there are certain things you just don't say. But because they don't look like they have a brain injury, you never know. You never know those players who taking those hits get up and walk off the field. Like you just said, you get up and you're in a daze, you don't even know where you are. See, the people in the stands, they're cheering, yeah, 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 because they got up. They didn't get up, they got helped up. And when they get over there, I'm telling you, those effects are going to be for a lifetime. Brain injury doesn't go away. Does not go away. And there are no two brain injuries that are alike in the world ever, anywhere. So those effects are a lifetime. A lifetime.
Yes, ma'am.
You hear it, Joe?
Yep. I'm listening. But it's just, but like I said, it's but it's scary that's the code. Like, we know this information. It's not like we don't know this information. We know this information, but our young men are continuing to be funneled into these sports that put their health in jeopardy, all because they're expected to save the family.
Yes.
I don't think, I agree with the last part about funneling our kids into expecting them to save the family, but I don't think we know how prevalent brain damage is in contact sports. Like, I think it's something that we, as a community, I think we're kind of oblivious to. Like, we know when you take the big hit and you slow to get up, we know that, but I don't think there are a lot of us that know, like she said, about the fact that the damage compounds. It doesn't necessarily just go away after a couple of days. And it's not necessarily just the big hit. It could be the small hits that just make you feel a little daisy or a little dazed or woozy. And then, you know, but you don't really, because you regain your composure fairly quickly, and you just move on to the next play without thinking, you know. And then, you know, you think about playground football. We all play playground football, where no pads, playing in the middle of the street, tackling each other on the concrete and the asphalt. You know what I'm saying? Just laying each other out, head to head, you know, collisions all the time. Like, I played backyard football every day during the summer for like 4 or 5 years straight, like tackle, full on. We were trying to rip each other's heads off.
Yeah.
And then too, you know, think about it. When the younger you are, the effects may not show up until years later.
That's true.
Years
That's
later.
True. That's one of the things I'm thinking
later.
about.
Yes, years later. And then you start to wonder, man, why am I doing this? Why am I forgetting this? Or why am I having these seizures all of a sudden? Or why can't I remember what I had for breakfast this morning? Oh, I know I set my keys right there, so where are they now? You know, and I'm not just talking about, you know, because we all forget things from time to time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you take these hits and people be like, oh, it's just a little hit, it's just a concussion. It's not just a concussion.